Hello, hello, and hello. Welcome to the TruEndeavors podcast. I'm Zenobia N. Porter, soul care certified coach and kingdom activist, and I can't wait for you to dig into this next episode. So let's get to it. I'm so excited to be starting a new season of the TruEndeavors podcast. I know it's been a while since the last episodes, and season 1 was extremely short, and there's a reason for that. One thing I've learned to embrace is intentionality. I understand the importance of being deliberate and specific with the things I do. So I wanted to make sure the conversation we have here has purpose behind it. And I can honestly say that it does. I can say this because I took some time to step back and pay attention. I was sharing the message God gave me and watched the response. I prayed about what I saw and what I was hearing, and it led me back here to this podcast. It led me back to have a very important conversation that is critical to the season that we are all in collectively. So, because of that, the theme of season 2 on the TruEndeavors podcast is Let's Heal. And I'm going to kick it off by doing something a little bit different in this first episode. One, I'm going to play for you the full audio of one of the conversations I have in the free program I offer, 3 Healing Principles of Soul Care. I feel like this conversation is so necessary that it shouldn't be confined to that program. And it sets the perfect tone for the season, for the conversation that we're going to have in this season. After I share that recording, I'm going to come back and share additional insight into the what and why this conversation should really matter to you, why it's not someone else's problem, and why detaching from it is not the answer. All right? Okay, let's dig in. I'm very excited that you are here, and thank you for taking the time out to hear me and to take this healing journey with me. Thank you for saying yes to yourself and recognizing that you could benefit in this space from this conversation. What I want to do is just let you know that we are going to dig deep. There's going to be some toe stomping around here, okay? Because we have to really take in the truth of what's going on, because if we don't look at the truth, if we don't evaluate the truth and really take a look deep inside of ourselves and open our ears and our hearts to hearing this truth, to receiving this truth, then we cannot expect God to move inside of our lives, inside of this space, inside of this conversation, to facilitate any level of healing, any level of growth or transformation that you're looking for, any level of change that you're looking for. Now, if you are anything like me, and I would like to think that you are, at least on this topic, then you are probably sick and tired of being sick and tired. It seems like everywhere that you turn, every time you open up your phone, turn on the TV, scroll through your timeline, look at headlines, something crazy is happening in this world. Somebody has done something evil, something hateful. Somebody is making some deceptive and corruptive plans. You see it in the political field. You see it on international platforms, you see it in the schools, you see it in your job, and you see it in your house. And something has got to be done. I know I see it all the time, and it's really heavy. It's a weight that I could physically feel going on in this space. The air is thick, it's hard to breathe in the peace that is made available to us. And I really and truly believe the more that I see this, with every incident, with every article I read, or every story I see posted on Facebook, Instagram, wherever, TikTok, wherever, that what God is showing me more and more is that the soul of the world is sick. The soul of the world is sick. Now, that does not remove any level of responsibility from our individual hands, because we as individuals collectively make up the world. So there's no way of getting around it. It's not them that's just acting crazy out here, okay? It's not them that just have a wounded soul that they're trying to operate and function with. It's us. And us, we collectively make up the world that we are living in and that we are seeing just seems like fall apart in front of our eyes. So the thing for us to do is to address the sickness in our souls, to look at and evaluate the wounds and the trauma inside of our souls. Because if we collectively would heal, even if a majority of us would take it upon ourselves to heal, we would see shifts and change happen in the world because we collectively make up this world. But the problem is that too many of us have become complacent. Too many of us have decided to accept what we see not only go on in the world around us, but in our lives, in our households, within ourselves. And as a result, we take our brokenness into our day-to-day lives and interact with other people's brokenness that they have decided to bring into their lives. And we expect to produce something sane, something beautiful out of that thing, right? Something productive, something just okay, not even great, but just okay, something livable, something acceptable. The cost of complacency is great. The cost of complacency is having us dread getting up in the morning. The cost of complacency is having us see what is going on in this world and being able to shake our head and act like it doesn't impact us, that we don't contribute to this thing in any kind of way. What happens when the ripple effect stops? What happens when we run out of ripples? When we run out of ripples, when that rock is thrown in the water and the ripples form and they get larger and they reach and impact more and they reach and impact more. What happens when that ripple stops? Because nobody is creating or disrupting what we're seeing in the world. What happens when people stop healing and stop passing that healing on to others? What happens when people stop operating in wholeness? What happens when people even stop seeking that thing? When people turn a blind eye to the bleeding soul and the cries in their hearts to heal? When people start accepting the pain as normal? What happens is we pass that on. We pass that complacency on. We pass that acceptance on. We pass it on to our children. We pass it on to our friends, to our family, to our coworkers, and that just reaches out and starts this whole other ripple effect that we are seeing happening in this world. You have to start with yourself. Be the beginnings of a new ripple that will eventually reach out and heal others so that we can see their ripple and their ripple, so that healing can be the majority of this world. Because right now, pain, trauma, and rejection of God, that is what is the majority, that is the loudest voice that we're hearing. But it needs to be the voices of the healed, the voices of believers. Believers that have been transformed, not just those that have just accepted God, that have just accepted Jesus. Not just that is enough. It needs to be believers who have really submitted themselves onto God enough to have encountered him, his love, his grace, and is allowing themselves to be stretched and healed and transformed by the power of Holy Spirit in the name of Jesus for the glory of God. Those are the voices that need to be the majority in this space, in this place, if we want to see anything else happen. But instead, what we do is we lean on this word. We lean on, well, it's the end of days for sure. We see the craziness happen and we're like, well, sign of the times, sign of the times. Nothing we can do about it. We just got to ride this thing out. That's a lie. That is a straight up lie.
Nowhere in God's Bible did I see him say that when you start to recognize the signs of the times, that you are to lay down and accept every trick and trap from hell, including the fact that you are not able to, or not the fact, but the lie that you are not able to heal and that you shouldn't even pursue it because it's too late, because the signs of the times have become apparent. That is a lie. That is a lie straight from hell. What I want you to see and understand, that complacency is a killer. Complacency is an assassin that the enemy has sent out from hell to take you and your family out. And by proxy, your neighbors, and then by proxy, your neighborhood, then by proxy, the city, then the state, and then the country, and then the next nation, and then the next nation. So it does fall on you. It does fall on you. The beautiful news is that to start to see the change in the world, you will see it in you first. The beautiful news is that to experience the change in the world, you get to experience it first. God will do a work in you. God will draw you closer to him and allow you into the secret chambers of his heart and his mind and his perspective, and let you in on some of the mysteries and the secrets of the supernatural, and show you how to let those things become what is natural to you. He will shift and change your life. He will heal you. He will heal that trauma. He will heal those soul wounds, and he will teach you, and he will lead you, and he will guide you deeper, deeper, deeper into a more holistic way of living, to where you are operating inside of the peace that he has already left you, inside of the knowledge that you don't have to go out and create peace, but that you have it already available to you. And when the storms come, because they will come, you will walk through them things differently. You will navigate your storms differently. You will be able to experience and be the love that God has called you to give. You will be and experience freedom. You will receive the abundance that he has promised you. First, it has to pass through you first. And that's beautiful. That is what complacency is keeping you from. That is what sitting back and accepting what is keeping you from. That is what your denial or your avoidance of doing the work, or even seeking healing, or even acknowledging or knowing that healing is needed, that is what it's keeping you from your loved ones. Because it passes through you first. It passes through your hands first. It passes through your heart first. Your spirit, your soul. It passes through you first. And as a result, that ripple effect, it reaches out and it touches your kids, because they see the healing that is happening in you, because they knew you before the healing. And they see the process of the healing. And now they're seeing the results of the healing. And they're getting curious, and they want to know, Mom, Dad, how do I get that? Explain to me, Mom, why you didn't, or Dad, why you didn't react the way you usually do when that happened. Wow, I'm seeing a change in you, Mom or Dad. I'm noticing it. I love it. And then they get curious and they start to mimic what it is that you're doing, or they want to know more about your journey. And then they become impacted. And now they're off to the races in their own healing journey, supported by you, because it passed through you first. And then they take that thing out into the world, and it passes on to other people because it passed through them first. The soul of the world is sick because we are. And we've accepted it. And we keep seeing what's going on in this place, and we're shaking our head. Look at them. Look at how they're acting. They don't know what's going on. They're so corrupt and power hungry. They think this, they think that, they. thinking that what is happening and what they are doing has nothing to do with you. It's got everything to do with you. And it starts with you. The blessing of healing, the blessing of growth, the blessing of transformation, it starts with you. So that's why I am glad that you are here. That's why I'm glad you have taken the time to understand not only the need for healing, but also the process of it. And that's what we're going to go through in this series. We're going to talk about how to heal, how to steward that healing, and where to go next. And I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you because as someone that has been on a healing journey for a long time, and I say has been on because it's not a destination that you arrive at, man. We have experienced too much life, and the enemy has not stopped trying to attack us and derail us, okay, from reaching this point of wanting to seek God and to really be a reflection of him. The enemy hasn't stopped. So as long as the enemy is still going out here trying to mess stuff up and set these little traps and come up with these little strategies and sending these little minions out there to get in our way, as long as that's happening, you will always be on this healing journey. You will always be on a growing journey, and you will always be on a transformational journey. As well as the fact, not just the enemy, but because of how God works, because of how infinite he is and how infinite his creation and everything that we see and feel and touch and all that other stuff physically is, we will never know it all. We will never know it all. So there will always be some level of amazement to receive from God. There will always be something to talk about with him. I'm excited for you. And I am glad that you are here. I'm glad that you're here. Because it's time to address the depression that has taken over our homes. It's time to put an end to the rising number, the rising number of suicides that is plaguing our world. It's time to deal with and cast out the anxiety and fear that is sweeping our nations. It is time to demolish hate being the driving forces that we see in our space and in our world. It's time to dispel the lie of isolation. It's time to break apart and cast down and disintegrate procrastination. It's time to be able to recognize the tricks and strategy and movement of the enemy. It's time to be able to see and recognize the strategies and the movement of God. It's time to learn how to align ourselves with God. It's time to learn how to position our hearts in a way that is pleasing to God, in a way that heaven responds. It's time to make this living book of God's word come to life in our lives. It is time. And because you are here, I truly believe that God has chosen you for this moment, for right now, to walk this thing out so that he can begin that conversation with you and begin that journey with you. He is telling you right now, if you are here listening to the sound of my voice, if you are here listening to this message, then he is saying to you now is time. But because he is the God that he is, the God that has offered us free will, his voice of saying now is an invitation that you have the right and ability to accept or reject. My prayer is that your intention and your commitment is to accept that invitation and walk that thing out. There is a great cost to complacency. Complacency is a killer. It will keep you stuck. Complacency weakens you. Complacency is a space of settling. Complacency is a space of not being accountable. Complacency is a space of rejecting or avoiding truth. Complacency is a space of being powerless. Complacency is a space of being a victim. Take your power back. Receive the identity that God has given you and walk in that thing. And walk with the authority that you have been given. Complacency will not allow you to do that. So it's necessary. Your healing is necessary. For you, for those around you, for those you love, and for every life, each and every one of you touch. The soul of the world is sick because we are sick, because our souls are sick. You begin the process of healing this world by beginning the process of healing yourself. And because that healing has to pass through your hands first, you get to experience the beautiful blessings that come with it first. It is truly, as my mentor, Ebony L. Trust says, it is truly win, win, win. It's a win for you, it's a win for others, and it's a win for God. So take some time to go through the workbook and write out your answers to the questions that are in there. Take some time to journal your thoughts. Make sure that the time you spend doing this is uninterrupted, that you are in a quiet space that will allow you to really just sit there and allow you to connect with God and hear God's voice and his heart for you as an individual, with where you are in your walk, in your life, uninterrupted, because this is serious stuff. This is serious stuff. Take ownership of your part. Take ownership of your part. I'll leave it there. And I will see you next time when we go into part 2 of this soul healing journey. Be blessed and stay true.
All right, I am back. I hope by now you can really sense and see the heart and urgency behind this message. I have had some conversations with some who seem to disconnect when I mention the world. And maybe this is you. Maybe you heard me mention the problems in the world and immediately removed yourself from the equation. Maybe you couldn't see how any of that had anything to do with you. Maybe you feel that it is what it is and nothing anyone does will change a thing. Or maybe you feel it's not your job or responsibility to change anything. Just go with it and process what you experience. Listen, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. I'm not here to judge or coerce you one way or the other, but hear my heart as I share a few things that I shared with others that hold that same sentiment. Let me be clear. This call to heal is not with the focus of healing or quote unquote fixing the world. The healing and fixing is a byproduct of answering the call to get healing for ourselves. So it's not a matter of you or the world, it's about both. I do take a few solid stances on a few things though, and I'm going to share those with you. For instance, I believe that the stuff going on in the world, the hate, the hurt, the pain, the trauma, and the corruption are wrong. These things are out of alignment with what God truly wants for us. I believe his desire is for us to experience him and all that comes with that, like healing, peace, transformation, community, and freedom. He desires for us to experience those things. He desires for us to live in his love and be an expression of that love. But what we see in the world is not representing any of that. Now, I do know that the state of the world was to be expected and even inevitable. But I don't believe we are condemned to settle for it. Hear me when I say this. I do not believe that we are condemned to settle for the state of the world just because it was expected or inevitable. As we experience the craziness of this world, experience it with God so that your heart and mind can see things from His perspective. And you can receive direction on how He wants you to move in this world and even provoke a shift in it. There's no way around the fact that the things that are happening in the world are affecting the people living in it. We cannot separate ourselves from that. Depression, suicide, anxiety, isolation, violence, corruption, and more are running rampant in this world. And I see the root of this as being our expression of unhealed pains and traumas, misidentification in who we truly be in God, living and seeing things from the world's perspective, and cutting God out of everything, and the lack of authentic relationship with God, which are all directly connected to the choices we make ignorantly or with full knowledge. So, in essence, we are creating our experiences through our choices. And our collective choice to live in our unhealed state has created the experiences we now loudly see in the world. But if we were to take it upon ourselves as individuals to do the work in partnership with God and actually heal, actually unpack, deal with our stuff, and take it to the cross, there would be a greater representation of God's true desire in the world, which would ultimately begin to create a shift to where healed and healthy voices are the loudest. Whole and holistic voices are making critical decisions that impact everybody. Grace and love would start to stifle condemnation and hate. It's a personal choice. It's a personal choice to heal our emotional hurts and grow in relationship with God. Realize that this personal choice to heal will benefit everyone you come in contact with, because you won't be part of the system that's spreading hurt, trauma, and anger. So this call isn't for you to take ownership and responsibility to fix the world. Instead, the message is, if you're sick of seeing and experiencing the world as it is, if you're sick of feeling the weight of the world's condition hitting you and your family, turn to God. Heal, grow, transform, and experience a new level of peace and understanding that impacts how you engage in it. This is your invitation to believe for freedom, to believe for different and new, to believe for peace. This is your invitation to heal through real, authentic relationship with God. The question on the table is, will you accept or reject it? The choice is 100% yours. It's 100% yours to make. And should you accept this invitation and recognize the benefit or need for additional support, connection, and guidance for this journey, go to my site, TruEndeavors.com, to learn more about my private one-on-one coaching sessions that I offer, the free True Endeavors online community, and other programs and services that I offer. I am here to serve. I am here to support. I am here to be a vessel for God to support you in your journey of healing, growth, freedom, and transformation. Know that I am praying for you. Know that God loves you, and we'll chat soon. In the meantime, be blessed and stay true. I'll see you in the next episode.